Look around you. Feel the constant hum of triviality, the incessant chatter of opinions you never asked for, the sting of comments meant to wound, the friction of petty obstacles designed to drain your energy, fragment your focus, steal your power piece by agonizing peace. If every slight disturbance, every minor setback, every whispered judgment sends ripples through your inner world, then understand this. You are willingly, consciously, or unconsciously surrendering your strength. You are handing over the keys to your own kingdom. The truth, the hard-edged reality that separates the masters from the masses is this. The most steadfast souls, the truly unbreakable individuals walking this earth, are not those blessed with fewer problems. They are not immune to the chaos and the noise. They have simply achieved mastery over their internal landscape. They have forged an unshakable command center within, dictating how they respond to the inevitable storms of life, rather than being tossed about by them. Imagine it. Picture yourself moving through the complexities of existence utterly unfazed. No more corrosive overthinking that paralyzes action. No more volatile emotional explosions that sabotage progress. No more being jerked around like a puppet on strings by external events or the fickle moods of others. Imagine instead a state of complete control, a profound inner stillness that remains untouched, undisturbed, regardless of the external turbulence. This is not a fantasy, it is a skill, a discipline, the art of supreme indifference, and in this transmission, you will learn how to forge this shield, how to temper your mind, how to train yourself relentlessly to act as if nothing truly bothers you. Not as a facade, but as a fundamental operating principle. You will learn to stop feeling trapped, ambushed, and overwhelmed by your emotions, and begin finally to master them. Because grasp this essential truth. Once you attain proficiency in this art, there is nothing, and no one, that can ever truly control you again. It begins here, mastering the core mindset, the internal decree. Nothing bothers me. Life is a relentless barrage, a cacophony of noise, the unsolicited opinions of strangers and loved ones alike, the daily frustrations that grind away at patience, the sudden, unexpected obstacles that threaten to derail your path. The world never tires of throwing distractions, criticisms, and barriers directly into your line of sight. It tests you, constantly probing for weakness, seeking leverage. But what if true, unyielding power comes not from engaging every battle, but from mastering the profound, potent art of selective serenity? Imagine walking through the fiercest hurricane, the winds howling, the debris flying, yet your internal compass remains steady, your calm undisturbed. This is the essence of acting as if nothing bothers you. The master key lies in learning, deliberately and consistently, to detach your emotional state from the whirlwind of external circumstances. When you allow outside events, a harsh word, a missed opportunity, a change in plans, to dictate your internal weather, you become a mere marionette, dancing to tunes played by forces utterly beyond your control. Your peace becomes fragile, your focus shattered, your power bled away. But when you train your mind, day after relentless day, to maintain an unshakable inner core, you cease being a reactor and become the master of your own destiny. The world, whether it consciously recognizes it or not, respects those who maintain their composure amidst the chaos. It defers to those who do not buckle under pressure, who meet adversity with a quiet strength rather than frantic reactivity. When you embody this state of being, this calm, centered, unwavering presence, you radiate an undeniable authority without needing to utter a single forceful word. You move through life differently, with weight, with presence, with an unshakable belief that emanates from your very core. Think of the most influential figures etched into the annals of history. Were they known for their knee-jerk reactions? Did they fly off the handle at every perceived insult, crumble at every critique? Number. They moved with an aura of profound control, as if they possessed a secret understanding of the world that others lacked. Their power wasn't rooted in their ability to argue louder, fight harder, or dominate through aggression. It resided in their uncanny ability to remain utterly unaffected by the noise, the negativity, the attempts to pull them down. This is the quiet, devastating strength of selective indifference. This is where true power lies dormant, waiting for you to claim it. Consider the philosophies woven through the great texts on self-mastery and enduring success. What is the most potent, recurring lesson? Thought precedes action. What you consistently hold in your mind, you inevitably become. If you are constantly reacting emotionally to the world, flinching at every shadow, bristling at every challenge, you are actively giving away your power, moment by moment. But if you cultivate a mind that is steady, resilient, anchored, the world begins, subtly but surely, to bend to your will. Those who achieve greatness understand this fundamental principle. Control your mind, and you begin to control your reality. Let's make this tangible. Imagine you're in a public space, and someone directs an insult towards you, a barb designed to provoke, to demean, to elicit a reaction. The instinctive response for most? A surge of anger, a defensive posture, a retaliatory strike, verbal or otherwise. It's the predictable path, the one fueled by ego and raw emotion. But what happens when you choose a different path? What happens when you simply offer a calm, perhaps even faintly amused smile, and walk away? In that single act of non-reaction, you achieve something profound. You instantly disarm the aggressor. They expected a reaction: anger, fear, defensiveness. That reaction was the source of their perceived power in that moment. When you deny it to them, their footing falters. They are left standing there, their aggression unmet, their power nullified. They feel awkward, unsettled, exposed. You, on the other hand, walk away stronger, untouched, unharmed, undefeated. This is the silent dominance few understand, but all instinctively recognize and respect. It's the power of choosing not to play their game. The exact same principle applies with brutal efficiency to failure, setbacks, and obstacles. When faced with rejection, a project collapsing, a plan going awry, the common reaction is to let emotion flood the control room. People drown in disappointment. They lose days, weeks, even years, replaying what went wrong, lamenting their misfortune, internalizing the perceived failure as a reflection of their worth. But the individual who understands the power of selective indifference, of emotional detachment, sees these events through a different lens entirely. Failure is not a catastrophe, it is data. Rejection is not personal, it is information. A setback is not the end of the road. It is a course correction, a learning experience, a necessary stepping stone on the path to mastery. They don't absorb the failure into their identity. They observe it objectively. They adapt their strategy based on the new information, and they move forward with renewed focus, often stronger and wiser for the experience. How, then, do you cultivate this level of internal control? This fortress of the mind? It begins not with grand gestures, but with small, consistent acts of mental discipline, practiced daily. Start with the habit of the pause. Before you react to an email, a comment, a frustrating event, consciously insert a moment of stillness. In that space, ask yourself critical questions. Does this situation truly impact my long-term goals? Is an emotional reaction genuinely necessary? Or am I simply feeding the drama, giving away my precious energy and power? By consistently choosing non-reaction in these small moments, you begin to build an invisible armor, a shield that deflects the petty arrows and trivial annoyances of daily life, preserving your focus for what truly matters. Another vital component is visualization. Actively, vividly, see yourself as the person you aspire to be, the one who moves through life unaffected by the chaos. Picture a version of yourself utterly unfazed by insults, unbowed by pressure, calm and centered amidst the storm. Hold this image in your mind. Feel the state of being associated with it. Rehearse it mentally. The mind is extraordinarily powerful. What you visualize with consistency and emotional intensity, you begin to embody. You literally rewire your neural pathways to align with this chosen identity. Let people wonder. Let them marvel at how you remain so calm when others are losing their composure. Let them question how you maintain such stillness under fire. Because when you project that aura, when you consistently demonstrate that nothing externally seems to rattle your internal cage, you subtly yet powerfully begin to control the entire game. You become an enigma, someone people admire, perhaps even fear slightly, but never fully comprehend. And in that very mystery, in that space where others cannot predict or manipulate your reactions, lies a profound source of your power. True strength, enduring power, isn't found in loud displays of dominance or aggressive posturing. It resides in presence, a presence so grounded, so centered, so self-possessed that it has absolutely no need to prove itself. A presence that commands respect through its quiet intensity, through its unwavering silence, through an unshakable state of mind that remains steady regardless of external conditions. Master this internal state, and you begin to master your life. Now let's delve deeper into the engine room of this mastery: emotional steadfastness. Think about the most formidable people you know or have observed. What distinguishes them? They don't react impulsively. They don't let fleeting emotions hijack their decisions or dictate their actions. There's a characteristic pause, an assessment, a deliberate, intentional response. This isn't because they lack feelings. It's because they have achieved mastery over their feelings. Emotional control or detachment isn't about becoming a robot devoid of feeling. It's not about suppressing emotions until they fester and explode. It is about controlling them. Imagine this scenario. You're caught in a heated argument. The other person is escalating, trying desperately to provoke you, pushing your buttons. Do you take the bait? Do you let their words ignite your anger, dictate your emotional state? Or do you perhaps offer that small, knowing smile, remaining completely unaffected, recognizing that their words are just noise, powerless unless you choose to grant them significance? Emotional detachment is the conscious refusal to hand over your inner peace, your mental equilibrium, to external forces. It's the profound understanding that your internal world, your thoughts, your feelings, your state of being, is sacred territory, inviolable unless you grant access. When you consistently apply this approach, the benefits are immediate and transformative. Stress levels plummet. Mental clarity skyrockets. The inevitable challenges of life cease to feel like overwhelming battles to be fought and instead become intriguing puzzles to be solved. Consider again the foundational principle. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you focus on, you invariably attract and amplify in your experience. When you allow external events, opinions, or circumstances to dictate your state of mind, you become, in effect, a slave to circumstance. Your happiness becomes contingent, fragile, dependent on things you cannot control. But when you seize the reins, when you actively control your thoughts and master your emotional responses, you step into the role of the architect of your own destiny. Think of the timeless story, echoed across cultures and philosophies, of the individual who loses everything tangible. Their business collapses, investments vanish, material wealth evaporates, leaving them with seemingly nothing. Most would crumble under such weight, sinking into despair, bitterness, or paralysis. But the individual grounded in detachment responds differently. They view the catastrophic loss not as a defining tragedy, but as a profound, albeit painful lesson. They understand, deep in their core, that their mind is their single greatest asset, and no external loss, no matter how devastating, can strip that away unless they allow it. Armed with this unshakable mindset, they rebuild, often emerging stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. This is the raw power of detachment in action. When you stop identifying yourself with the failure, with the setback, with the external event, you liberate yourself to rise above it. A primary reason so many people falter in achieving their goals isn't lack of talent or opportunity, it's emotional chaos. They allow fear, doubt, disappointment, and frustration to run rampant, seizing control of their inner narrative. They might start with burning ambition, but they abandon the quest at the first sign of significant adversity because their emotional state dictates their actions. But those who have cultivated emotional mastery understand a crucial truth. Emotions, Even the most intense ones are ultimately transient sensations. They are waves passing through the ocean of awareness. These masters refuse to allow temporary feelings, no matter how uncomfortable, to derail their long-term objectives. They persist through difficulty, not because they don't feel the struggle, but because they have trained their minds to perceive obstacles not as insurmountable barriers, but as necessary stepping stones. Training yourself in emotional detachment does not mean you become cold, callous, or indifferent to the richness of human experience. It means you cease allowing external forces to be the sole determinant of your inner state. You can still experience profound joy, deep sorrow, thrilling excitement, but you remain at the helm. Your emotions serve you. You are no longer enslaved by them. To develop this, practice stepping back metaphorically during emotionally charged situations. The next time someone insults you, or you face a frustrating delay, instead of instantly reacting, pause. Observe the emotion rising within you, the anger, the irritation, the anxiety. Acknowledge it without judgment. Then ask yourself with detached curiosity, does this truly affect my life in any meaningful, long-term way? More often than not, the honest answer is a resounding no. By consciously choosing not to react, not to escalate, you strip the situation and the other person involved of their power over your internal state. Clarity of purpose is another powerful anchor for emotional detachment. When you possess a driving vision, a compelling why that fuels your actions, the small annoyances and petty dramas of the world lose their significance. Your focus becomes laser sharp, almost unbreakable, because you understand intrinsically that your energy is far too precious, too vital, to be squandered on things that do not serve your ultimate aim. The world yields to those who have mastered themselves. The more you cultivate emotional detachment, the more unstoppable you become. While others panic in crisis, you remain calm. While others react blindly, you respond strategically. And in doing so, you gain an insurmountable advantage that few ever possess. Remember, true power isn't found in physical dominance or loud displays. It resides in a steadfast presence, an inner stillness that commands respect without demanding it. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you don't just navigate life, you command it. This leads us to another potent concept, mindful indifference. Consider this a superpower in a world conditioned to react to everything. We are taught, subtly and overtly, that we must care about everything. Every opinion, every news headline, every social media slight, everyone's approval, everyone's judgment. Society implies our value is measured by how heavily we invest in the thoughts and expectations of others. But true, liberating freedom dawns when you have the profound realization that most things simply do not matter. The next time you find yourself spinning in circles of overthinking, agonizing over a past mistake or a future uncertainty, ask yourself this penetrating question. Will this matter in 5 years? Be brutally honest. If the answer is no, and it almost always is for the vast majority of our daily anxieties, then consciously, deliberately let it go. Most of what perturbs us, fleeting criticisms, temporary setbacks, moments of embarrassment, fades into utter insignificance with the passage of time. Yet we allow these phantoms to consume our thoughts, dictate our emotions, and control our actions in the present moment. This is why mastering selective, mindful indifference is paramount to reclaiming your sovereign power. Mindful indifference isn't about apathy or cynicism. It's about intelligent prioritization. It's the conscious recognition that your energy, your focus, your attention, these are finite, precious resources. It's about choosing deliberately to invest them only in what is truly worthy of your engagement. Not every perceived battle needs to be fought. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Not every fluctuation in circumstance warrants an emotional response. When you stop reacting automatically to every minor inconvenience, every dissenting voice, every unexpected turn of events, you regain control. You shift from being a leaf blown by the winds of emotion to becoming the strategist who navigates the winds with purpose. And that shift, that changes absolutely everything. Think about the individuals you genuinely admire for their strength and composure. Are they the ones desperately scrambling for approval, reacting emotionally to every challenge, constantly justifying their existence? Or are they the ones who stand firm, grounded, seemingly unmoved by the incessant noise of the world? They possess an inner knowing, a solid sense of self, and because of that, they cannot be easily manipulated, swayed, or controlled. When you adopt this very mindset, something remarkable occurs. People begin to respect you more. Not because you demanded it, not because you sought their validation, but precisely because they perceive you as unshakable. In a world where most are desperately trying to fit in, to be liked, to conform, the person who stands resolutely in their own truth holds an undeniable power. Consider again the scenario of unfair criticism. The mentally weak individual reacts instantly, becoming defensive, over-explaining, perhaps launching a counterattack. The strong individual, however, remains calm. They understand that words possess only the power granted to them. By refusing to react emotionally, they maintain control, not just over the external situation, but crucially over themselves. And that self-possession, that quiet dignity, commands far more genuine respect than any outburst of rage ever could. This same principle fuels success. Those who achieve greatness are not the ones frittering away their energy on trivial worries and petty grievances. They are laser-focused on their objectives, refusing to be distracted by minor dramas or external judgments. They operate with clarity, knowing that every moment spent agonizing over the irrelevant is a moment stolen from meaningful progress. So how do you cultivate this potent level of selective indifference? Begin by auditing your reactions. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising over something minor, stop, interrogate the feeling. Ask, is this truly worth my finite energy? Practice letting go of what doesn't serve your higher purpose. Another powerful practice is establishing clear priorities. Define what genuinely matters in your life, your core purpose, your personal growth, your inner peace, your key relationships. When you have this solid foundation of intrinsic values, the opinions and judgments of others lose their suffocating grip. You become untouchable, not because you cease to care about anything, but because you care profoundly about the right things. Here lies the secret most never grasp. True power isn't found in seeking approval, but in being utterly unmoved by disapproval. It's discovered in the ability to calmly walk away from situations and people that drain you, to rise above petty conflicts, and to maintain unwavering focus in a world overflowing with distractions. Ultimately, it's not about caring less. It's about caring wisely. It's about choosing where to direct the potent beam of your attention and refusing to waste it on that which holds no true value or significance. Because when you master the art of selective, mindful indifference, you don't just survive the chaos, you thrive within it. And in a world where everyone is obsessively concerned with pleasing others, the one who stands firm in their own self-worth will inevitably, undeniably, rise above the rest. Therefore, stop seeking approval. It is a gilded cage, a trap that places your happiness, your sense of worth, directly into the hands of others. It makes you perpetually dependent on their validation, their applause, their permission. Face this stark reality. No one else's opinion of you should ever carry more weight than your own. The instant you grant another person the authority to define your value, you relinquish control over your own life. Authentic confidence isn't bestowed. It's built brick by painstaking brick, through self-reliance, through action, through the deep inner knowing that you require no external permission slip to be who you are. Think of the most magnetic, charismatic individuals. They aren't pleading for acceptance. They aren't shrinking themselves to fit in. They own who they are, flaws and virtues alike, and that is the source of their power. It emanates from their unshakable sense of self. While others chase fleeting validation, they walk their own path with unwavering purpose. The desperate need for approval stems from fear, fear of rejection, judgment, isolation. But the more you chase approval, the more power you surrender. You become a prisoner of expectations, contorting yourself to fit molds designed by others, betraying your authentic self in the process. Freedom arrives the moment you release the need to be universally liked. It's an illusion anyway. No matter what you do, someone will find fault. Some will admire, others will criticize. Many won't care at all. Why exhaust yourself trying to please an indifferent or hostile crowd? Look at the world changers, the innovators, the creators. They weren't concerned with fitting neatly into pre-existing boxes. They were driven by vision, by purpose, by an inner fire that burned brighter than any external criticism. They faced opposition, ridicule, doubt, yet they remained unfazed. Their confidence was anchored in something far more substantial than public opinion: self-belief. That made them unstoppable. If you wish to escape this approval trap, start by interrogating whose opinions you value. Often, the loudest critics are those not walking your path, not understanding your journey. Their words carry no real weight unless you choose to internalize them. Learn the art of self-validation. Acknowledge your own progress. Celebrate your own victories, no matter how small. As you begin to recognize your intrinsic worth, external applause becomes pleasant but unnecessary. You no longer need it to feel valid, you simply know you are. Detachment from validation isn't arrogance. It's standing firm in your authenticity. It's honoring your choices, your journey, and refusing to let others dictate your direction. Your value is non-negotiable. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you start living in freedom. You move through life with authenticity, with boldness, with an unshakable sense of purpose. Not everyone will understand or support you, and that is perfectly okay. The right people will respect you, not because you sought their approval, but precisely because you demonstrated you didn't need it. So, choose yourself. Stand firm in your convictions, your values, your vision. Let go of the addiction to external validation and embrace the profound power of self-acceptance. Because once you do, you become untouchable. Not because everyone approves, but because you no longer require them to. You become the ultimate authority in your own life, the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, unshakable, undisturbed, free.